Golf has always carried an image of honor, patience, and respect for the rules. Unlike many other sports, where referees constantly watch every movement, golf is built around the idea that players police themselves. The spirit of honesty is part of the very foundation. But every now and then, that foundation cracks. Sometimes it's an intentional shortcut, sometimes it's a reckless decision in the heat of competition, and sometimes it's a technicality so small that even television viewers at home needed slow-motion replays to spot it. There are moments that have stirred up heated debates, split opinions, and even stained reputations. These weren't just mistakes, they were controversies. And in some cases, they became unforgettable stories in golfing history. Today, let's dive into the 10 most shocking moments where golf players were caught cheating during the game. The sand sweep scandal, Patrick Reed's bunker penalty. At number 10 sits a controversy that earned its own nickname, Sandgate. Patrick Reed found himself in a waste area on the 11th hole. It should have been a normal recovery shot. But what happened next set the golf world on fire. Reed took 2 practice swings, and with each one, sand was visibly displaced from behind the ball. Cameras caught everything. To the casual eye, it may not have looked like much. But those tiny sweeps effectively improved the lie, creating a cleaner path for his next swing. Golf's rules are crystal clear about touching or altering the conditions in a hazard. Once the footage was broadcast, there was no room for debate. Reed received a 2-stroke penalty, but the judgment from fans and fellow pros was far harsher. The incident highlighted just how unforgiving golf can be when honesty is questioned. The ball-in-motion blunder, Phil Mickelson at Shinnecock Hills. Number 9 delivered one of the most jaw-dropping moments in major championship history. Phil Mickelson, known for brilliance and creativity, crossed a line no one expected. It happened on the brutal 13th green at Shinnecock Hills during the US Open. His bogey putt rolled far past the hole and was headed straight down a steep slope. Instead of watching the ball trickle away, Mickelson did something that stunned the gallery. He ran after it and swatted the ball while it was still in motion. Gasps echoed across the course. This wasn't frustration. It was a calculated move to stop the damage before it grew worse. Mickelson owned the moment afterward, admitting he knew the rule and accepted the penalty strokes. But critics called it unsportsmanlike, questioning whether a legend of the game had disrespected its integrity. Others defended him, saying it was simply gamesmanship under brutal conditions. To this day, that clip remains one of the most bizarre and unforgettable moments in US Open history. The drop zone controversy, Tiger Woods at the Masters. Number 8 takes us to Augusta National, home of the Masters, where Tiger Woods found himself at the center of one of golf's most unexpected rules disputes. On the 15th hole, Woods hit a beautiful approach that struck the flagstick, only to ricochet heartbreakingly into the water. Forced to take a drop, Woods chose his spot carefully. But here's the problem. He didn't drop it at the exact spot required. Instead, he placed it 2 yards farther back, giving him a better angle. At the time, it seemed routine, but a sharp-eyed television viewer watching from home noticed the drop wasn't right and phoned in the violation. Officials reviewed the footage, and Tiger was hit with a 2-stroke penalty. Under the older rulebook, this would have meant immediate disqualification because he had already signed his card. But a recent rule change allowed him to continue. Many said Tiger was lucky. Others insisted it was still unfair. What's undeniable is that the moment revealed just how closely the Masters is scrutinized. Not just by officials, but by millions of viewers around the globe. What made the incident unforgettable was that it involved Tiger at the height of his career. Every move he made was magnified, and every swing was analyzed from every possible angle. Fans debated endlessly whether he knowingly took advantage of the drop, or whether it was a simple lapse in judgment. The controversy spread far beyond Augusta, dominating headlines around the world. Some argued that golf's rules were too harsh and outdated, while others insisted they were the very fabric of the game. For Tiger, the penalty didn't just cost him strokes. It forced him into the center of a heated conversation about fairness, intent, and the responsibility of superstars in protecting the game's reputation. In the end, that Masters became remembered not only for brilliant shots, but also for one of the most debated rulings in tournament history. The marking mishap, Lexi Thompson's 4-stroke penalty. At number 7, heartbreak hit hard. Lexi Thompson was leading during the final round of a major when she was suddenly blindsided. The controversy began when she marked her ball on the green and, without realizing it, replaced it slightly off from the original spot. The difference? Barely an inch. That tiny move might have gone unnoticed forever if not for a television viewer at home who spotted the infraction and reported it. Officials reviewed the footage and issued a staggering 4-stroke penalty, 2 for the incorrect placement and 2 more for signing an incorrect scorecard. When officials informed Thompson mid-round, the look on her face told the entire story. Shock, disbelief, frustration. The crowd rallied behind her as she fought to the finish, eventually losing in a playoff. Fans questioned why outside viewers had such influence over the outcome. To this day, that debate continues. For Lexi, it turned what should have been a career highlight into one of the most controversial rulings in golf history, the withdrawal admission, Chella Choi's controversial exit. At number 6 is a moment that still stings for many fans. During the Canadian Pacific Women's Open, Chella Choi marked her ball on the green and replaced it. But when officials reviewed the footage, they noticed something wasn't right. The ball had been put back slightly to the side, again, only about an inch away from its original spot. A penalty was warranted, but instead of playing on, Choi stunned everyone by withdrawing from the tournament. That decision was seen by many as an implicit admission of guilt. Critics said it showed poor sportsmanship, while others believed she simply didn't want to continue under the weight of controversy. What might have been a small, forgettable infraction suddenly turned into a stain on her career. In golf, sometimes it's not just about the penalty strokes. It's about how players respond when they're caught in the spotlight. The withdrawal raised even bigger questions than the penalty itself. Fans wondered if she quit to avoid embarrassment, or if stepping away was her way of protesting the call. Commentators debated whether walking off showed weakness or honesty in accepting fault. Either way, the decision overshadowed the actual violation. Instead of focusing on her strong play earlier in the tournament, the story became about her exit. For weeks afterward, discussions circled around whether Choi had damaged her reputation more than the penalty ever could have. The moment stuck because it felt unfinished, leaving fans with more questions than answers. In a sport where character is often valued as much as performance, her choice to withdraw became the lasting headline, the buried bunker mistake. Dustin Johnson's PGA heartbreak. Number 5 takes us back to Whistling Straits and one of the cruelest rulings in recent memory. Dustin Johnson, on the brink of his first major championship, found his tee shot resting in a sandy, trampled area surrounded by fans. To him, it looked like a waste area, but in fact, it was technically a bunker. Johnson grounded his club behind the ball, unaware of the hazard designation. The violation was clear under the rules. 2 penalty strokes were added, and just like that, his place in the playoff was gone. The major title slipped through his hands. Fans were outraged. The course had nearly 1,000 bunkers, many of them indistinguishable from trampled paths where spectators stood. Yet the ruling stood, and Johnson learned the harsh lesson that in golf, ignorance is never an excuse. The heartbreak of that moment became one of the most painful near misses in modern major history. What made the moment even harder to swallow was how ordinary the lie looked. The area where Johnson's ball came to rest had footprints, soda cups, and fans standing only a few feet away. The honest read, Brian Davis calls penalty on himself. Number 4 is one of the rare times when honesty turned into heartbreak. During a playoff, Brian Davis's club brushed against a reed and a hazard during his backswing. Almost no one saw it. Not the officials, not his opponent, not the crowd. But Davis knew. Without hesitation, he called the penalty on himself. The delayed penalty dilemma. Anna Nordqvist's major loss. At number 3, the controversy wasn't just about the penalty, it was about the timing. Anna Nordqvist, in a major playoff, unknowingly grounded her club in a fairway bunker. Officials had the footage, they had the evidence, but they didn't inform her immediately. Instead, she played her next shot unaware that her fate was already sealed. Her opponent, Brittany Lang, knew of the ruling before the final putts were made. When the news was finally delivered, it was too late for Nordqvist to adjust her strategy. The delayed ruling left fans furious. Timing, after all, is everything in competition. If players don't know where they stand, how can they make fair decisions? Nordqvist lost her chance at a major, and the controversy became one of the most debated officiating moments in recent history. What made it sting even more was how powerless Nordqvist looked when she finally learned the truth. The club count crisis, Ian Woosnam's 15-club mistake. Number 2 is a lesson in simple details. At the Open Championship, Ian Woosnam was tied for the lead and playing with confidence when disaster struck before he even teed off. His caddy realized something was wrong. There were 15 clubs in the bag. The rules allow only 14. The penalty? 2 strokes. Just like that, Woosnam's lead was gone. The error wasn't a matter of interpretation or a judgment call. It was a straightforward oversight with devastating consequences. Fans and commentators were stunned. How could such an experienced team overlook something so basic? Woosnam didn't fire his caddy, but the mistake haunted him for years. That moment proved that in golf, even the smallest details can destroy the biggest opportunities. The embedded lie, Patrick Reed's Farmers Insurance controversy. Finally, at number 1, Patrick Reed once again found himself under fire. At the Farmers Insurance Open, his ball landed in the rough and clearly bounced. The television broadcast showed it. Fans saw it. But Reed insisted it had embedded without bouncing. Officials took him at his word. No penalty was given. But the footage told a different story, and the whispers of dishonesty grew louder. The incident sparked outrage across the golfing world, with many questioning how one player's word could outweigh what millions saw on live television. The controversy didn't just fade. It lingered, adding to Reed's reputation as one of the most polarizing figures in modern golf. Integrity, once again, became the talking point. When trust is broken in golf, it's not easily rebuilt. What made this situation even more explosive was the timing. Reed was already carrying baggage from earlier controversies, so this felt like confirmation to many critics. Fans on social media dissected the replay frame by frame, insisting the bounce was obvious. Fellow players were cautious with their words, but hinted at frustration, fueling the fire even more. Tournament officials defended the ruling, but the public response was unforgiving. Every highlight reel and every recap seemed to circle back to the same question. Was this bending the rules, or simply taking advantage of them? For many viewers, it didn't matter whether the intent was malicious or not. The trust was already eroded. In a game that prides itself on honor, this moment cemented Reed as one of the most scrutinized figures the sport has ever seen. From sand sweeps to moving putts, from misplaced drops to too many clubs, these moments remind everyone that golf, for all its tradition of honesty, is still vulnerable to controversy. Some mistakes were born out of pressure, some out of oversight. Others raised questions of intent. But all of them became unforgettable lessons in a sport that holds integrity above all else. If this deep dive into golf's most controversial moments kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible sports stories. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss the next episode. Which of these moments shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going.